The night owl. If you're the type of person whose brain refuses to shut down until 2 a.m., stop beating yourself up. You aren't lazy and you don't have bad discipline. You are likely running on a biological clock that is 40,000 years old. This is what scientists call delayed sleep phase, but in the Stone Age, it was known as staying alive. Think about it. If an entire tribe of Neanderthals fell asleep at exactly the same time, a saber-toothed cat would have an all-you-can-eat buffet. Evolution needed a designated driver for sleep, someone genetically wired to be alert when everyone else was unconscious. That was your job. Researchers have identified specific Neanderthal gene variants that delay your circadian rhythm. While the rest of the tribe slept, your ancestors were wide awake, poking the fire and listening for snapping twigs in the dark. In fact, a study of modern hunter-gatherer tribes like the Hadza in Tanzania found that in a group of 30 people, there were only 18 minutes per night where everyone was asleep simultaneously. The rest of the time, someone was awake. That someone was you. So, when you're staring at the ceiling at midnight feeling guilty that you aren't tired, remember this. Your body isn't broken. It's just reporting for guard duty in a world that no longer needs guarding. You aren't an insomniac. You're an unemployed prehistoric security guard.
The drama queen gene.
Do you have that one friend who acts like they've been shot when they stub their toe? Or maybe you are that friend. Before you call them dramatic, look at their DNA. Scientists have discovered a specific gene variant inherited from Neanderthals that alters how ion channels in your nerves function. Specifically, this variant affects a protein called NaV1.7, which acts like a volume knob for pain signals. In most people, the volume is at a 5. In people with this Neanderthal variant, the volume is cranked to an 11. Essentially, this gene lowers the threshold for pain activation, making your nerves scream when others would just whisper. In the modern world, this feels like a curse. But 50,000 years ago, being a baby about pain was a superpower. In a world without antibiotics or hospitals, you couldn't afford to ignore a small injury. If you stepped on a sharp rock or got a minor cut, you needed to feel it immediately so you could clean it and rest before it became a fatal infection. The people who ignored pain didn't survive to pass on their genes. The ones who cried out and nursed their wounds did. So, if you are highly sensitive to pain, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means your ancestors were the cautious survivors who took every threat seriously. Think of it as an advanced warning system that just happens to be extremely annoying. The addiction circuit. Why can some people smoke one cigarette and quit, while others are hooked for life? It's not just about willpower, it's about a specific region in your brain derived from Neanderthals. Geneticists have linked a cluster of Neanderthal genes to a heightened risk of nicotine addiction. These genes affect the transport of dopamine, the chemical that tells your brain, "That felt good, do it again." Neanderthals lived in a harsh, calorie-scarce environment where finding high-energy food or warmth was rare. Their brains needed to be wired to aggressively chase rewards. When they found something good, their brain chemistry locked onto it to ensure they kept doing it. It was a survival drive. Eat the fatty meat, stay by the warm fire, repeat. Today, that same survival mechanism gets hijacked by modern stimulants like nicotine or sugar. Your brain is treating a cigarette like it's a life-saving mammoth steak. It's a powerful survival drive that has tragically misfired in the modern world. Research from Vanderbilt University specifically found that these Neanderthal-derived DNA bits are significantly associated with the risk of addiction. It's not a character flaw, it's a glitched survival software. Your brain is just trying to keep you alive in an ice age that ended a long time ago, and it hasn't figured out that a vape pen isn't a nutritional necessity. Chicken skin. Rub the back of your arm. Do you feel those tiny rough bumps? That condition is called keratosis pilaris, or chicken skin, and for years dermatologists just treated it as a common annoyance. But recent evolutionary biology suggests it might be a remnant of Neanderthal skin adaptation. These bumps are caused by an overproduction of keratin, the tough protein that protects skin and hair. In the freezing tundra of Ice Age Europe, Neanderthals needed tougher, more insulated skin than their African cousins. This extra keratin likely helped form a protective barrier against windburn and cold, possibly even supporting thicker body hair for warmth. Imagine having a built-in thermal wetsuit made of your own skin. That is essentially what your body is trying to do. Today, you don't need to survive an ice age, so your body is just producing armor for a battle that ended millennia ago. It's not a skin defect, it's a vintage fur coat your DNA forgot to take off. Roughly 40% of adults have this condition, and while it might ruin your dreams of being a hand model, it's a badge of honor that your ancestors were tough enough to survive winters that would make a polar bear shiver. The no-sweat gene. We all know that person at the gym who can run 5 miles and barely glisten, while the rest of us look like we just swam across the Atlantic. If you are the dry type, you might have inherited a Neanderthal cooling system. Research indicates that Neanderthal DNA is linked to a reduced density of sweat glands. Modern humans evolved in the heat of Africa, where sweating was the only way to cool down. Neanderthals, however, evolved in cold climates where sweating could be deadly. Wet skin in sub-zero temperatures leads to hypothermia very quickly. So their bodies adapted to conserve heat and limit moisture. If you struggle to sweat or overheat easily in the summer, it's because your internal thermostat is still set to glacial winter. You are built for efficiency in the cold, not high-intensity cardio in a heated gym. This trait is genetically linked to variations in the skin's physiology that prioritize heat retention over heat dissipation. While this is terrible for hot yoga, it would have made you the MVP of the clan during the last glacial maximum. You aren't out of shape, you are just optimized for the wrong geological epoch. The anxious survivor. Anxiety is often viewed as a modern mental health crisis, but its roots may be ancient. Studies show that Neanderthal gene variants are significantly associated with mood disorders, particularly depression and anxiety. But why would nature select for bad moods? Because in the wild, optimism gets you killed. The Neanderthal who heard a rustle in the bushes and thought, it's probably nothing, got eaten. The one who thought, that's definitely a bear, and ran away, survived. This is called the smoke detector principle. It is better to have a false alarm and run away for no reason than to have no alarm and die. Your anxiety is an overactive threat detection system. It kept your ancestors safe from predators, but now it's firing off alarms for emails and social situations. Research published in Science confirmed that Neanderthal alleles are enriched in genes affecting mood regulation. Basically, your brain is still scanning for threats that no longer exist. You aren't crazy. You're just hyper-vigilant in a world that is statistically safer than your brain believes. Your brain is constantly asking, where's the tiger? And when it can't find one, it decides the tiger must be your credit score, or that awkward thing you said 3 years ago. The aggressive immune system. If you suffer from severe allergies or autoimmune issues, your body might be fighting a war that ended 40,000 years ago. When modern humans migrated out of Africa, they encountered new, deadly pathogens in Europe that they had no immunity to. Neanderthals, who had lived there for hundreds of thousands of years, were already adapted to these bugs. By interbreeding with them, we inherited their military-grade immune genes. This was a massive advantage back then. It was like downloading an antivirus update for a new environment. Specifically, genes like the toll-like receptor cluster were inherited from Neanderthals to help detect bacteria, fungi, and parasites instantly. But there is a downside. Neanderthal immune systems were aggressive because they had to be. In our sterile, modern world, this high-powered defense system has nothing to fight. Bored and unemployed, it often turns its weapons on harmless things like pollen, allergies, or even your own body tissues. Autoimmune diseases. Your allergies are just your elite immune system trying to find a target. It's like having a SWAT team in your house, but there are no burglars, so they just tackle the pizza delivery guy. Thick blood. This final trait is a double-edged sword. A specific Neanderthal gene variant makes your blood clot significantly faster than average. In the dangerous world of the Stone Age, this was a lifesaver. Neanderthals hunted large, dangerous game like woolly mammoths and rhinos using close-range spears. Injuries were guaranteed. If you were gored or cut, you needed your blood to seal the wound instantly to prevent bleeding out. Fast-clotting was the difference between recovery and death. But today, we live sedentary lives. We sit at desks and fly on long-haul planes. In these conditions, hypercoagulable blood is a liability, increasing the risk of strokes, deep vein thrombosis, and blood clots. The very trait that ensured your ancestors survived a mammoth hunt is now a risk factor for your office job. It is the ultimate example of how our bodies are mismatched for modern life. This genetic variant creates a stronger inflammatory response and quicker coagulation cascade. It's a biological emergency brake that slams on too hard in a world where we mostly just sit still. So take a look at yourself. Your skin, your sleep, your mood, and your blood are all carrying secrets from a lost world. You aren't just human. You're a walking museum of evolutionary history. If you identified with any of these traits, you are carrying the torch of a species that refused to go quietly into the night. And frankly, that makes you pretty cool. If you want to unlock more secrets about your own biology, hit that subscribe button right now, because we are just scratching the surface of what your DNA is hiding. Welcome to the tribe.